only way that they would want to go for Legion is perhaps if this Batrider is already thinking about shifting to an even more awkward spot. And Snap Batrider is a little bit of a weird combo. I feel like that's where maybe we see some forward bans out, continued support bans out from SG, and yeah, that is what it looks like. But I don't know. I've got some question marks now about this Batrider. You don't ban LC out for nothing, especially not if you're not laning against each other.
You could just cut that sentence off as you don't ban LC. It just really doesn't happen all that often at all. So, see what it is Felt are thinking here. I mean, looking at it from a certain perspective, yes, it is good against the Batrider. Yes, it gives you a frontliner, so your Queen of Pain and Morphling don't have to be absorbing that damage, but still so incredibly situational. So, Felt they take it away. Would not be surprised if they maybe go for something a little more conventional with this final ban, because SG, they need that frontline hero, right? They need something even as simple as a Mars, otherwise Morph and Queen of Pain can't get in at the angles that they want to.
Yeah, and I do like that we see the respect ban of the AA yet again. I still
Mm.
think that hero in concept is maybe a little bit stronger than it is in practice, because it is just kind of a, you blow everything and then your hero just sits there and then it's pretty useless for the rest of the team fight. But that's where a lot of these teams, they both have a ton of reserve time. They can be pretty patient here. Mars would have been a pretty good choice. You get that Mars Dark Willow. Again, the combo that we've seen not play out to much effect for the cut, but is still very valuable. And I'll always bring up that OG drafted it 3 times in a row and it looked pretty great. Maybe Omar and Tiger just built a little bit different, but at the same time, it does feel very free. And that's something that you do need right now. You need somebody that's beefy, out in front. When looking at SG, I don't want to say it, but with the way that things are shaped up, they need a little bit of an initiator right now. I would say that SG, if the draft looked maybe a little bit different and you didn't have an Undying, would love to pick up a hero like their Timbersaw, but I don't feel like that's really in the cards here. I would really like if they looked at another hero like the Lycan, as I will keep on saying, I really like Lycan, and even though you don't fix the initiator problem, you just double down on damage and you make that Lena's life pretty much impossible to play against. Already, Lena's going to be very focused on killing tombs in team fights, so if you overload her with another hero that's just sitting on top of the Lena's face, suddenly you've got a pretty big problem on Felt. But that's where Felt, I think right now, do have to kind of say, okay, what are we doing with our lanes here? Are we going to have a 4 position that's just going to win with our Batrider? Probably. I think Snap slotting into the 5 is a lot easier than moving it around. I don't think they want to hear like the clockwork necessarily, but
Hmm.
Hoodwink, not bad. I don't mind it. It's just plain damage, simple, a little bit of disable, more lockdown than a Skyreth Mage, but again, damage in Chronosphere, sure, why not?
Yeah, just give you a little bit more to work with the sharpshooter, and as you said, some extra lockdown, some harassing the lane as well. That acorn shot does kind of hurt in the early stages, so certainly not a bad pick, not the flashiest in the world, but Felt have put together something that looks pretty damn solid at this stage. Now for SG, well, what is the answer to the offlane question? Do they take a different offlaner? Do they move the Undying? It's not going to be really an easy play for them one way or the other, ET, but at this point, I don't know. What are you leaning towards? Because Felt already banned out a lot of the normal offlane options.
Yeah, and really with Oscar as well, you need to pick up something that feels comfortable versus Batrider in the scheme of things that also has enough of that jump that gets onto the Lena. That's a pretty tall order, and I don't want to say they pick up, well, that's not the hero I thought they were
Yeah.
going to pick, because that solves none of their issues, but as you like to say, it is annoying. It will cause a lot of problems now. Whenever Felt want to get in and out of team fights, aside from the Faceless Void, the lineup doesn't do that. You kind of have this walking tower that you're going to have to move in between. And then Prada takes up the Undying. But Dark Will Venolane does not sound great, does not sound very ideal. This might be just the Snapfire getting bullied up pretty much the entire laning stage here. And SA does like their Venomancer, I think, more so than really anybody else. But now that is a big question mark for me. I'm never going to discount Yuma Morphling. I think coming into any game, Yuma can just kind of work you out of it. It's just one of those player hero combos where Yuma is just so comfortable on that hero. But at the same time, I think Felt yet again here in very similar fashion to last night versus the cut, just have a super solid lineup with a ton of broken heroes. So I kind of want to give them the advantage.
And I will say one thing for that last pick for the SG side. Oscar Venno is something that we have seen before from him on other teams that he's played for, but I think the important aspect of that is on those other teams he was playing for, we were also several patches back where the Venno kind of felt a little bit better than where he is now, and especially where he fits into this draft in particular. So while Oscar may feel a bit more comfortable on it, I'm still not really sure what the impact is going to be, and it doesn't solve their frontline issue. Venno's not going to get tanky enough to survive if Felt just goes straight through him.
Yeah, and just seems like another hero that's gonna get chronoed. It's just going to be kind of helpless, but maybe we'll be proven wrong here. Maybe the Venno is just going to be so tanky and so beefy and has a spirit vessel at 10 minutes and just makes Paradise's lane impossible. Maybe that's what's going to befall us here. But we'll have to see. I think SG's got a lot of things that need to go right for them, especially I think in that mid lane. There's going to be a lot of rune stealing. There's going to be a lot of rotations for those supports. I think if you can keep a rune out of that Lena's bottle, then suddenly you start to lose that regen war really quickly, but it's also where to win that lane, all you have to do on Solji's side is just keep on hitting LSAs, keep on right-clicking her. It's one of those not auto-win lanes for the Lina, but it's very difficult to not make that draw and even come out of it ahead against the Queen of Pain.
Well, just our luck. We had some pauses in the first series today. Why not carry them over to the second? We got a little bit of an issue here, but hopefully this isn't a long one. Hopefully we can get ourselves right back into it, keep the ball rolling here in this first match, and well, this is going to be interesting. We talked about it on the top of the draft ET. These two teams now both with 2 points in their favor, but that only has them tied with no runes at this point. Although, actually, wait, hold on. I just now realized I think I've been doing my math wrong this whole time, ET. Let me double check that while we're paused. Yeah, everything I've been saying about them being tied, that was dumb and wrong. No runes have 3 points after their 2-0, not 2. NA math.
NA
Sorry.
math.
Yeah. What can
Yeah.
you do? But that means these two teams have to get at least 1 point out of this series to then be tied with no runes at this point. So that sort of adds even more of a sense of urgency than we were initially talking about. Somebody's got to come away with points here. It's a question of, will it be the 1-1 split, or can one of these two squads get the 2-0? And I mean, Felt, it just feels like things are maybe starting to click for them, right? They got that 2-0 that I don't think anyone expected in their series last night, so they should be coming into this with a solid draft and some confidence in themselves.
Yeah, and now, okay, some drawing on the map. Always happens with Yuma, and okay,
Hmm.
that was yeah,
Did
the
anyone even call that, or
GWR.
oh, they did? Yeah,
Yeah, it was
okay.
like the G and then the GWR just came out so quickly, and then everybody started spamming X hero is missing. So yeah, we get this game started right now. Should be a pretty interesting affair. I still want to see what this lane really holds for us. And it really is awkward though, seeing the double range lane come out. It's something that I don't really like to see either. It's where we always talk about those balances that you kind of want to maintain just in drafts and what feels nice. And we'll have to see how they decide to play it between LTH and Oscar. But nighttime smoke, Ward should dispel this, and LTH gonna make the run for it. Actually
Ooh, it's
turning
gonna
on the
drop the
Warden.
Bramble. They got
Okay.
the Bramble. They got the Gale. Can someone
Deny.
deny? Yep. Well done by Paradise. But now it's the Snap who's in some trouble, but I don't know if they can
5
catch up.
seconds.
Have the cast range. He has the cast range to throw it out. It's just the formation delay that might matter, and yeah, they're just going to give up on it. All things considered, though, you were the team sort of being aggressed upon if you're SG, and while you don't get the kill, you do force a deny. That's something, I guess. It doesn't get you anything, but you're at least able to punish the aggression.
Well, let's see. Maybe a fight here, a fight that the Snapfire should
Uh-oh.
not take, and will just walk away instead. Gets the 2-2 split. We're like, nothing ventured, nothing gained, and nothing really was gained here. Maybe a little bit of mana lost on the Dark Willow, but that'll be back up, and we're just going to start off with a completely even laning stage.
Yep, a deny that doesn't really move the needle at all, an even split on bounty runes, and everybody topped back up on health and mana other than, I guess, Prada. But Prada's dueling up with Warden, or the Warden right now. I'm not really sure who wins that, to be honest. I mean, the Decay is going to hurt, but the Decay costs quite a bit more in terms of his mana pool compared to Hoodwink, who maybe can just sort of afford to trade it out. Bit of a funky one, but it's not going to matter too much. The supports are just here to be annoying, and that is certainly annoying. They managed to get him with the Bushwhack, but this lane has to be just kind of calm until there's points up in actual damaging abilities for Fade.
Yeah, and it's where, unfortunately, level 1 is kind of suck. Even though you make the trades happen, you have a 10 stick on Prada, you have a 10 stick on Yuma. They are very aware of the lane that they're in. And then once they get their own skills to kind of fight back here, you will be able to fight back pretty easily. It's just a matter of whether or not you can either deny or secure those early levels. It's where Bushwhack is a pretty good skill for getting those range creep blast hits, but definitely not the best one. It's where Yuma just having the most base damage in this lane will definitely be able to fight for every last hit.
Should be having a decent time early on here. Meanwhile, swinging things top. A little bit of early damage being traded. Cookie comes out onto Paradise. That stuns LTH. I don't think he can finish the kill, though. LTH just kind of comes in with the Shadow Realm. That means no more damage, and he will walk away. But that is something in this Snapfire lane that they're going to have to be a little bit wary of. There's not a lot of mobility between a Veno and a Dark Willow.
Yeah, you got to be pretty careful here. Time Dilation is just a fearsome spell where you do need those bashes online, though, I think, from Paradise before you can really threaten all too much. But goodness, everybody is so low.
Okay, KXY survives the Dragon Slave, but in the bottom lane, somebody does go down. Fade's able to find the kill onto Prada, and, well, there is one downside, right? Hey, you can have all the stick charges in the world, but once you pop the stick, there's a little bit of time before you build up anything else, so they go sort of in between that timing, and you get first blood.
Yeah, they get the farm up a Tombstone as well, so 200 gold this early, very nice. It's a little bit of just kind of an unfortunate situation with the lane being so far up and not really being able to get any pulls going because melee 5s are just literally slower in a lot of situations, and you can't make those pulls happen nearly as easy. One of those drawbacks that you don't really think about when you draft a melee 5, but end up kind of hurting you inadvertently. And we'll see, pull did go off, but Warden's there to make the interrupt happen, and Fade will just take this wave probably under tower now.
Yeah, not quite what they were hoping for, but Fade's just going to be able to farm that up. Meanwhile, taking a look over at the middle lane, Solji, he's keeping pace. All right, last hit-wise, he's pretty much right there with the Queen of Pain. Said Queen of Pain, though, putting a couple points up in the Shadow Strike, so just trying to sort of get some means of getting that constant damage out onto the Lina. So you're not exactly going to be able to bully her with the Scream of Pain right now. You'd have to get too far forward to try and pull that off.
Yeah, and oh,
Well, that's a
there you
little
go.
that's a little far forward, but Solji holds his fire on the LSA. Even if he hits the stun, I don't think he has enough damage to finish the kill, so might as well hold the mana.
Ooh, and then sidesteps the LSA. It's one of the situations where I think he goes for that blink play, even though it looks really weird, just because the punish is that you just walk up and get LSA'd as, okay, solo in Paradise. A-click it? Yep.
All right. Well, a little bit of an awkward situation there. That's not quite what I was expecting out of this top lane, but they catch heroes off guard and very low on HP there. Paradise in particular had just a sliver after the snap died, so you live dangerously. Those are the risks. He's now just going to TP right in Oscar's face, and I don't think they really want a fight here. They're just kind of hoping SG back away, but at the same time, what's going on mid? Solji, he's in danger. Pop the Fairy Fire, but it's not enough. KXY finds the kill, and well, all of a sudden, SG Esports have put 3 kills on the board, and now it's 4. Yuma takes down Fade, trying to dive the Tier 1 tower bot, and just all at once felt kind of overextend.
Yeah, and the Morphling is just shift down, all the way down. You get another 10 or 11 stick, and then suddenly you're back to full HP, and it's just not what you want out of these lanes. Mid lane, though, that's kind of unacceptable. That's just a very unfortunate, just getting caught out by the level 3 dagger isn't fun. SG are just spamming out their opponents, honestly. In all three lanes, they're just going for the more obnoxious spells. They're going to just harass you, and currently, Felt are not really dealing with the pressure all too well.
KXY gets hit by the LSA, but he did have the range drop, so he's able to absorb a lot of that damage. And all back up top, another kill for SG, 5th straight, and now Paradise. How is he going to manage the Curse Crown? He does Tomahawk up to the high ground, but I think he's just going to die here. Can he get the kill on LTH?
Nope.
Oh, man. Double kill for Oscar. LTH lives, and this is getting a little concerning. 6 straight kills that they've surrendered. SG, you're going to keep taking those kills if you're just going to keep walking into it.
Yeah, it just feels maybe a little bit too free right now. It's where you would like to see the rotations coming out of the lanes, but with how low they are in
this is
mid,
a problem.
yeah,
Tombstone
he
down.
wants to kill off the tomb, but he can't, and now he's going to get soul ripped. He's got stick as well. There's no trade he can make. Just an absolutely trapped Lena. And again, everybody is so low, and I think finally Oscar's going to get punished in the top lane, but aside from that, your mid going down and no support coming, that's an awful feeling.
At least they're able to find something up top, as you said, but it's just a scenario where it feels like Felt are just exclusively playing a reactionary style, and the reactions aren't really working for them to this point. But I don't know. We're coming up on 7 minutes. It's not the biggest lead in the world. It's not even 1K at this stage. So if you're Felt, there's no reason to panic, but they definitely need to sort of focus up and avoid giving up those kills. And speaking of potential kills, KXY, that was a dangerous game he was playing, but he's able to fall back.
Yeah, and really I think he knows that unless he gets hit by an LSA or he sees those hands go up, then he can probably blink out of quite a few of those different situations, and he's just going to heal up with his flag bearer now. But no, it's where SG are playing a very quick style of Dota, and that's also where Felt pre-10 minutes, they don't have a lot of their combos, and well, there goes your Snapfire. Might just try to get the trade though. A lot of damage. Enough for Paradise, surely, to get the kill here.
1-for-1 trade. Oscar can't really do much more than this, even with the Curse Crown stun. Paradise should be able to walk away, but not if KXY gets involved. He has no time walking. He's dead.
Oh, the fight. It just dragged out way too close to the river. He just thought that he'd be able to walk it through, but nope. Got a blink in the mid lane. That's a Queen of Pain.
Closes the gap. You do have to deploy the Sonic Wave, but that's Sonic Wave to kill off the opposing team's carry. You are more than okay with that as the Warden. He's able to snag an Arcane Rune away from KXY. Can actually kill him, though. Laguna's not enough. Soul Rip heal just in case, coming out from Prada. But now if you're Solji, there's a Tombstone on that high ground. I don't think you want to go any further forward than that, and he does back himself up.
They do want to kind of farm it, though. It's funny because Prada is just walking back and forth. There's nothing he could do about it except for almost pump faking his hero's existence. But that also didn't scout the massive stacks that Felt have right now for their Bat Rider. So kind of nice. That's going to be another expenditure that SG need to do if they do want to scout it out, because currently the Dire Triangle is just stuffed with creeps. All for the Bat Rider again, though, because it's not like the Void or the Lena can really claim those.
Not really their territory. So we'll see when the Bat makes it over. He only has 1 point up, though, in the Firefly, so it might make it a little bit tougher to get through that quickly, but he'll make his way over at some point. In the meantime, Solji makes his way back mid. Doesn't have Laguna up for about 10 seconds here, but once he does, it'll be interesting to see if he tries to make a move anywhere. 10-minute rune could give him an opening. Speaking of openings, though, Paradise is, without his support here in the top lane, getting a little bit bullied. Gonna just go for the TP out. Can Yuma catch him? Yeah. Oh. Well, he was there in time, just didn't quite get out the adaptive strike, so that's some good fortune for Paradise to escape. Okay. Yuma's gonna heal up with the Seeds of Serenity. Cool.
But excuse you. You healed up with the Virtuous Dale.
Oh,
excuse
me. My apologies. You are correct.
No, they had fun naming that. It's neutral. I don't really understand all too much, but
too many
it's a good
big
look.
Words.
With the supports. Oh.
Did he take it down? Not quite. Okay, they did get it. What's up? Anybody?
Wait. He's just gonna get...
Anybody? Okay. I don't know what happened there. KXY could have very easily finished that kill. trying to get some style points, and Soldier just says, "Hey, I'll deny you. Let's just not give him a kill."
Yeah, just a wee bit unlucky, but, you know, what's the worst that could happen there? Just don't get the kill. He's got a regen rune on the Lena as well, and oh, yeah,
Uh-oh,
that's going to
LSA's
clip him.
in. Laguna's there. That's a
Oh, need
good
a little
preemptive
more.
heal from Prada, and it's just barely going to be enough. Man, level 1 Soul Rip still doing some work there. That is the difference between life and death for KXY. That and, honestly, these raindrops coming in clutch again. I think that's the second one he's purchased up, and well, he still hasn't died yet. 1-0-2. That's twice now where he should have been picked off and just hasn't been.
Yeah, just pans out for you. This should be the mid tier 1 going down, though, or at least getting very close to death. Just have Lena plus a cart. You would want your Snapfire to be level 6 to back you up here, but it's where, unfortunately, I think the Tome ended up going the way of the Hoodwink to get her closer. But then we're probably going to see a nice smoke up from Felt. I feel like both their supports, they really have those super strong level 6 timings. Might even be time to get that Faceless Void involved. Usually we haven't seen Voids rotate out of their lane until after the Midas is completed, but the sooner they get to sync up with the support lineup, then, well, you could probably kill Queen of Pain with a Chrono, and that's probably your free play. Currently, though, you're just getting scouted out constantly by Oscar and his Plague Wards, who have started to just encapsulate the map, and he is the most farmed hero in the game for a reason. He's got the most kills. He's also just pushing in and farming pretty much everywhere where the Faceless Void would be farming.
Just shove that Faceless Void off the farm in any possible fashion, as Bramble not quite on the mark. The Warden's able to step through it. You had KXY making his way over. They might still be able to make a play at this point. I mean, you don't have really anything other than a level 1 Scream of Pain on that front, but you do have, oh god, you do have Sonic Wave as they do throw down the Chronosphere, trying to catch out LTH. Not enough damage to actually bring him down immediately, though. But they will finish him off eventually. Meanwhile, in the lane itself, Fade went in with his ult. They catch out, oh god, they catch out Prada, and then KXY. Well, I think he had an opportunity to try and escape. He just didn't realize that many heroes were going to come. Maybe just thinking the Bat's already used his lasso, so I'm safe, but that was not the case at all. 3 kills ET for Felt and a tier 1 tower on top of it.
Yeah, I think he just blinks aggressively. Was definitely not pretty. Was not the way you wanted to lose your Queen of Pain there. You do have an Atos now, finished up on Oscar, so will be a lot scarier when you do want to make that fight. And Chrono was expended, so I can only imagine SG now feel comfortable enough to play around this mid tower a lot more. It's a lot of pressure that I really don't think Felt can deal with. It's where, aside from the Lena, their wave clear really isn't that good. And if Solji does show in the mid lane, a dive is probably just going to happen with that Atos. And, well, Fade, he's going to be the one to eat it, actually.
Yep. They got multiple routes. They got the Sonic Wave in. The Warden has arrived, but he can't really
kisses.
do anything. Really? Yeah. I don't know about that one. That seemed a little maybe preemptive. It did help clear through a lot of the creep wave, but now they have to deal with some heroes because they know there's really not much left to fight with on that Felt side. They're going to push their way forward looking for Solji. KXY blinks onto the backline. They're going to throw down even the Nova, and that's just going to help them clean up. Yuma gets both kills. The Warden actually may end up dying here as well because KXY is trying to track him down, and he's got the DOT to get the job done. So, ET, I don't know if Kisses would have helped in the slightest in that situation, but the fact that they know he doesn't have it really just gave them the confidence to push in.
Yeah, and the only reason he does that is because they are so desperate for safe wave clear, but they just dive past. They ignore you. They don't care that their creeps are dead. You use your big ultimate, and the Queen of Pain is not scared of you in the slightest. And then you get to really see how trapped up that Lena can be, where she was just absolutely helpless, getting slowed up by wards, getting hit by the Atos, getting terrorized, and getting slowed by tombstone zombies. It's where Felt constantly need to target down and get even the Snapfire onto that tombstone at the beginning of every fight, but again, because she kissed, they know where her positioning is, and then you get that perfect play going for you. Not to mention Yuma getting both those kills. Very nice for the Morphling, who is now top of the net worth by quite a good margin here. And they're fighting into so many Plague Wards right now. Oh,
this
no.
This feels a little bit
Lasso?
rough. Oscar? Yep. They thought maybe for a second that they could do it without the lasso, but the timer was ticking down on that TP, so they do have to let fly. Maybe Prada dies here? Okay, definitely Prada dies if you're going to drop the Chronosphere, but do they have enough follow-up damage to get KXY? No, they don't, but, you know, you still got to be happy with that one. Yes, Chrono is now on cooldown, but you make a 2-for-1 trade. The only downside, ET, if they could have done that 30 seconds earlier, because this Ancient stack was almost completely stolen by Oscar.
Yeah, and now you want to get on the aggressive, but you have to make sure this tower kill goes down really cleanly, and I think it will before the Venom and the Undying can actually make their entrance here, but you've also separated the timings on your ultis again. You don't have Chrono for another 2 minutes. You have to figure out another creative way to use kisses, otherwise your Snapfire is going to continue to suffer and just not get any farm or XP anymore, because she's been struggling to find and make plays, mainly because there just hasn't been that sync up just yet here. It's where you're making a lot of individual moves on the Felt side, but if they aren't panning out, your supports just start to really fall behind. And now, we're at Fade. Atos.
There's the first route. There's going to be the second, the Cursed Crown. Actually, no, the Brambles didn't hit him, but the Cursed Crown still will. There's going to be a lot of DOT onto the bat. Yeah, he can't even move. That's just rough. Now the kisses come in. Sharpshooters there. Maybe they could get LTH. Okay. Got one. That is a kill with kisses. Desperately needed from the snap. And yeah, that part always is strange to me. You should not be able to use the voice lines of the person you morph into. That's just creepy, but... completely unrelated. They're now going into the Roche Pit. They drop the Tombstone down as well. Prada still has Flesh Golem for a few moments, and they get through this pretty quickly. Oh,
Oh, and the whistle is blown. If we need to get here, Felt can get here, but it looks like none of the cores are making a move, and I think with the Batrider taken down, that's really the call to arms here. I think with the Batrider having to walk out to the lanes and then not having kisses, even though Prada definitely didn't need to die, you know? Roche will claim a life. Doesn't always get to claim a life, doesn't usually claim a life.
yeah, very rare that someone actually dies to Roche. The only times we see it, it's kind of intentional, but even then, a rare play. But, oh well, not a whole lot lost there, although they will lose the Dark Willow again. Back-to-back deaths here for LTH, and it's nice on the side of Felt that we're seeing the support duo able to do something together, right? Even if that's not the most valuable kill in the world, they are starting to get a little bit more active here. And kills like that do buy a little bit of extra time for their ults to come back online, at least.
Yeah, and, well, with Aegis, as we always talk about, not just for Morphling, but also versus Faceless Void, Yuma just gets to do whatever he wants the next 4 minutes. It's where Felt can't really push in and look for that free play anymore. They have to look for KXY probably instead. This is nice, though. Free kill onto the Undying. Sharpshooter doesn't connect, so no gold for you, Mr. Warden. But the rest of the lineup is going to be gunning for kills, especially onto KXY. Got to be very careful. It's where you are going to become that new target, and you don't want to give yourself away. But Paradise, defensive chrono. And then the kisses come through, and LTH should just be able to walk this one out if Yuma lets him.
And Yuma, does he want to chase fully? Whoa, okay. Bookie doesn't hit.
Oh,
Paradise
no,
has
and there
to
you
time
go.
walk away, and now here comes Yuma with the chase. They're looking for it. Paradise in trouble, can't move. Sonic Wave in. They'll finish the job. And now they want even more. Waveform into Adaptive Strike will take down that snap. Now they turn their attention onto the Warden, who does have Scurry up, but he's so damn slow. He just can't get away.
Yeah, and that's the theme of their lineup. It's the theme of the draft. Just can't escape. Every single time you're stuck in a team fight for just a little bit too long, you get taken down, you get pushed back, you just get cleaned up, and it's going to keep on happening. It's where until we get a lot of Force Staffs, a lot of Glimmer Capes, there's just no simple way to disengage from these team fights, and we have to now wait for our BKBs to really be completed before we can take another engagement like that. But if we wait for our BKBs, we're also waiting for Yuma's Aghanim Scepter, and then we've got our own problems to deal with.
Oscar and LTH are doing a little bit of scouting here under the cover of their smoke. They would love someone like Fade to just kind of wander onto that high ground, but he does stay safe near his tier 2. Paradise, though, pushes a little further forward, and... oh, no, they're going to ignore him. They're just going to try and go in onto the Batrider instead. KXY, though, he got a little bit hung up on the back line, so he's not immediately joining his teammates, but they still know he's here. So the Felt side really don't want to go... oh, boy. Don't want to go in as Paradise reverse Tom walks his way back, but... well, that... okay, he still dies to the DOT. yeah, no, he had... wow. Yeah, he had BKB, just... alright. He ends up dying. Fade's now dead. Solji's in some trouble, or maybe he's not. He turns around with a Laguna combo that takes out the Aegis. The problem is, the second Yuma's back up, I feel like they're going to try and chase this, but they don't want to go all the way into the base, so instead, they're going to try and go onto the snap. Much easier kill. But, you know, in all of this ET, their creep wave is really pretty far back, so I don't think they have an immediate push onto that tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they can't really turn any of this into objectives, but I think, honestly, it feels pretty nice for Felt. That doesn't feel very nice. We're on the run right now. LTH isn't able to keep it out. Nice jump back from the sharpshooter, but you've now created a situation where, with this next Chronosphere, if Paradise can find his way onto Yuma, Shard has not been picked up yet. You can still kill the Morphling as long as you get him before that Agi shift goes through. He will die, and I think that's where Felt probably look for a smoke pretty soon here. Again, though, smoking during the daytime, you have to get onto that high ground vision pretty quickly, otherwise your play's kind of spoiled. And another last one onto the Undying, but also losing the Snapfire. Where is Paradise?
Here he comes, Chrono deployed. And they're just going to try and focus down Oscar. He takes one sort of second to shift over to LTH to secure that kill. KXY? He doesn't have Blink. Well, now he does, but now it's too late. He got clipped by the stun, and Warden will be denied as well, so they don't even get that kill. That's incredible from the Felt side, really, right? 4 kills. Technically, you lose 2 heroes. Only one of them actually gave up gold, though, but that's pretty perfect.
Yeah. No, you get what you want. It's not exactly what you want. You'd love to kill Yuma, but I think just a lot of supplemental kills there and 100% greed from KXY. Only reason he does that is because he thinks he can kill the Hoodwink quick enough, but without committing the ulti, everything looks pretty bad. It's where I think maybe we see some Aeon discs queued up in the future here pretty soon for the Venomancer, and then I think that jump or that solo chrono onto him more or less doesn't look nearly as good, but until then, if you get him before that Poison Nova, and I think Poison Nova was probably still on CD from the Batrider kill before, but you got to be pretty cautious. But Yuma does now have the Aghanim Scepter. He's got the Ag Shard queued up next. This is where the game becomes a little bit too difficult. You got to be very careful because Yuma, he can do pretty much whatever he wants now. Doesn't want to BKB TP.
Oh, no.
Wait. It works.
Okay. Just kind of assume, you know, when you start the TP with no BKB that you're going to get punished for it, but not the case. He's able to take a risk and have it pay off. Now in the middle lane, oh, KXY. Too far forward here as he gets caught and... Okay, you know, don't look now, but... Well, they're starting to build up some momentum in KXY with this itemization ET. He got the shard, he went for the Kaya Sange, his BKB is being worked on, I guess. He hasn't even got one component of it, but that's the downside. He doesn't have the magic immunity here to deal with a Felt lineup that can really hunt him down at will.
Yeah, and that's where, sure, Yuma's unkillable in chronos and stuns and yada yada yada, but if you just give your life away so consistently, this is, I think, probably his 3rd death that he wasn't really expecting or planning on. You start to fall behind pretty heavily, and even just looking at his inventory, you could already see that he is starting to suffer on that Queen of Pain. He is the lowest of the cores. He has really just not had any opportunity. And sure, Oscar and Yuma still feeling pretty good. Oscar just finished up an Aghanim Scepter as well, so he is also pretty adept at making these team fights happen, but that's where Felt kind of get to take a chill pill. They got the tier 2 faster than your opponents. You get to maintain both outposts right now. It's where SG were, again, unable to make one of their big trades into a tier 2 tower. So kind of an awkward spot to be in. Solji, though, on the low ground.
Yeah, walks right into it, but there's that BKB. Just
and
gonna
done.
walk away.
That's where, unfortunately, pre-BKB and without BKB, SG are definitely the winners in team fights, but can't do much when none of your heroes can blink stun. Nobody is an initiator inherently here, which definitely makes the lineup a little bit more difficult to play, but Agchart finished on Morphling. Yuma does not need to be afraid of Paradise any longer, and you might even just become him here and try to hound him. BKB, though.
Does he want to turn for the actual fight, though? His HP's a little low, and yeah, he's going to hold his fire there, so... mission accomplished, I suppose, right? He stays alive. Of course, now you have to deal with the fact that you've had your stats stolen, which is not fun, and now the fight's actually breaking out again. They go into Solji instead. The Chrono is deployed, but they didn't catch KXY. The Sonic Wave comes through. That's going to finish the job onto the Lina. Now Paradise, rooted up, taken down, and Felt have to run. Fade is just going to try to get out. There's still DOT on him, though, and KXY runs it down for the triple kill. Can they get him any more? Ultra kill in their sights, perhaps, as they're going to root up the snap. This is not quite as fast as I thought it would be, but eventually they do finish it off. Yuma gets that kill, and, well, that is just kind of the nature of it, right? Solji, even with the BKB, is still killable if he's stuck in the fight. At the start of that engagement, he didn't even have the magic immunity to work with, so he can't be that far forward without backup, otherwise they just blow him up, and now half your damage is gone.
Yeah, and Yuma just knows what buttons to press. They know that the leader doesn't have BKB. I think Solji made a big mistake there by showing up. Just need to go bottom instead and just AFK farmed, but tries to do a little bit too much there. And of course, Yuma with the Ags, you saw that Faceless Void. He was not right-clicking. He was not doing any damage. And then you have to rely on the Snapfire, but a Snapfire that cannot walk into that team fight. It was just way too difficult to make any play happen there. And now, well, SG take control back over their enemy's outpost. They get the tier 2 that they were gunning for before. And if they can maintain this control, Roshan's up in 35 seconds. This is where they get their huge opening to just kind of turn this game on its head.
Let's see if they're able to just get in there quickly once Roshan respawns. They should know that they're pretty close to it, so someone is going to be checking that out. This is where Oscar becomes even more useful, right? He had already been kind of patrolling in this north side jungle, but they've got so much vision. They've got the wards. They've got, well, vision wards and plague wards. I guess they're both technically wards, but that means if Felt try to get in here, they have to basically smoke their way to the Roche pit to contest.
Yeah, and, well, immediate scout out of the ward. They know it instantly. This is a little bit of a strange smoke, though. Really, this is just with Fade's Blink Dagger here. It will dissipate as well. Get some nice vision. I like the vision in the mid, just making it a little bit easier to make that jump happen, but into the pit, Yuma starts it.
Yeah, he's just going to kind of do it himself for the time being while they feel there's no threat from Felt to come in, but yeah, I do want to speed this up a little bit. There's going to be the reinforcements, but maybe now there's an opening. Do Felt try to make a move? Kind of looks like the answer is no. They're really not showing much urgency, but there's a 5-man smoke, and, well, they've got Chrono. They just need to... Oh, they need to not get ambushed like that as Oscar goes in, but there's going to be the Chronosphere deployed. Yuma, though, already picked up the Aegis. Maybe they can get through the first life here while he's stuck in the Chronosphere? Well, maybe not. They're not going to be able to finish him off, and this fight's starting to look a little bit awkward. It was a trade-off, though, as KXY was acting as the distraction to the south, so they managed to kill him off. Solji TP's home, so the DOT won't finish him, and you know, it's not all bad, right? KXY for your Snapfire is pretty good. It's just, God, if they could have burned that Aegis ET, then you'd be looking at this as a just definitive win for Felt.
Yeah, and I understand that you do kind of have to commit onto Yuma. If you make him force him to all the way go down to strength, then he's not doing any more damage in the team fight, but that was not just Yuma and the Chrono. That was also the Venom and the Undying. I feel like if you could have maybe switched targets there, you look up for that double kill onto Yuma, but that just doesn't happen. Paradise, though, completely fine. Just able to leap away. Again, it's kind of funny to see both the Dark Glow and the Venom blink on someone, because, again, it's not really a blink initiation that should work or has any business working, but that's also where, still having this Aegis, Yuma just has another about 5 minutes where he's just going to be absolutely fine to do anything psychotic. You just play on the enemy side of the map and then not really give any cares about what you're doing. And actually, okay, bottom. KXY again.
They catch him without his BKB, and, well, they're able to find that kill. The problem is they lose their own mid laner over in the middle lane as Solji does get picked off, so, man. For Felt, it's just unfortunate they can't take just a clear-cut step forward. Even when they find a move, it comes at a cost.
No, it just seems to work for them, and sure, doing a good job getting that split push going. I do wonder how they fix this issue versus the Morphling. It's where you wonder, does somebody need to buy a Silence? Do we need to look at items like Orchid on heroes that really don't want to buy them? Because it still is a massive problem. If Yuma actually gets the Morph off on the Faceless Void, you still don't have any damage to play with, and you have to play versus Ag's time-lapse, which is in itself incredibly obnoxious, as well as picking up the Scotty on Yuma. You just hit level 20 as well, so those waveforms actually just chunk through you, especially if you're a support. And both these supports have very little armor. So where I think we're almost at the point where we're going to see these teams really start to collide.
Oh, Fade. Well, he popped the BKB. He'll just look for the TP home, and I think he's going to make it, but he's got to spend a second in the fountain to heal up, and now they know he doesn't have BKB, so they're looking to push forward. Maybe they have an opening, although they don't really have a creep wave in a position to do anything here, so I guess they're just going to have to wait it out. Yuma's still got 2 minutes on that Aegis, so maybe he can try something crazy, but for the rest of the team to follow him, they need creeps in position.
Yeah, and in addition to that, got to see the Ag Shard, the latent toxicity on the Venomancer. It's why that BKB going down and being down, it's a 6-second BKB now, could actually end up mattering. It's where you might even just get chain stunned or killed off, and okay, they're pressing it. Yuma's just on the high ground. Okay.
Oh, can they get through the Aegis? As of right now, no. He didn't really get any damage on the tier 3 in exchange, though, so just kind of a haha, you can't kill me kind of moment from Yuma, but this is... Oh, hold on. This is a 5-man smoke. Felt thinking maybe we have an opening here. Do they find the Chrono? Because really, that's the only significant factor here. If they can't Chrono a target, I don't really know what they can do. As Yuma actually pushed his way forward, because Solji's a little bit too far from the rest of his team. They are going to try to regroup, but the root goes down. The snap's been caught. Should be a relatively straightforward kill. They're not able to finish it off just yet, though, but Yuma, yeah, waveforms in, gets the kill. Oh my god, Yuma. He's just going to go all the way in onto Solji. He's not able to find the kill, but Paradise is now being pushed back as well, and Yuma doesn't want to give up. He continues to go forward. Paradise, that BKB doesn't do you any good. It's still physical damage, taking him down. And this is already falling apart for for Felt, as Yuma just dives the fountain to kill Solji. So now Fade is entirely alone on the front line.
Yeah,
can he make it away?
One more adaptive strike, one more time. Yeah, time lapse. He's so slow. There's just nothing he can do. Ultra kill for Yuma. I mean, you kind of have to expect this from him. I mean, he kills both your cores. He kills your mid laner. He kills your safe laner. He makes it so that Paradise doesn't feel confident in going for a Chrono. And the only mistake Paradise made there was simply giving him the morph target in the first place. And Glyph will be able to slow them up, at least when it comes to taking out these racks. But no buyback on your Lina, no buyback on your Faceless Void. Yuma's hitting for 311 right now. These racks are just going to meld, and it's not going to be Megas. It can't be Megas. And without the Aegis is claimed, so Yuma maybe has to play a little bit cleaner coming forward. Can't necessarily just ram his head into the next engagement, but with top creep wave coming in, they don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Are respawning, though. 10 seconds on the rest of the Felt core is... Gotta see how confident SG are to stick around here. You know, I think there's another big item coming on the courier for Yuma.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's a full satanic. Alright. Well, even harder now to kill him, but they've got Chrono and Laguna, so maybe... Yeah, maybe they could find a kill. SG will acknowledge that by really just backing away at this point, but they got just about everything that they wanted. 2 lanes of racks. Did they finish the range? No. Okay, so it's not quite 2 full lanes, but meh. The range racks isn't going to heal up or anything like that, so they're okay leaving it behind. And now if you're Felt, ET, it really feels like they've got maybe 1 or 2 more chances to take that clean-cut fight, and if they don't, it might just be the end of them.
Ooh, trying to pick up LPH. Okay. Nice. The start of it, but high ground ward here. This is a scary position, and again, if he finds the morph, and there he is, now he's Faceless Void.
Oh boy. Well, are they ready for this? Yuma, he's not going to commit fully just yet, still just kind of prowling around, and that is some good news for the side of Felt, as they're able to just sort of back off and regroup for a smoke play, but where is this going to go? They really just have to march straight mid if they want to fight.
And... Okay.
There's the root. That's a problem. He's got to try and, pop the BKB. Does he go for the Chrono here? I'm not really sure they can find the kill anyway, but they've got to try. The Mortimer Kisses are flying through, but the Morphling only down to half HP. They have to finish him off, but the Laguna isn't even enough, and now Yuma, he's pissed, and he wants revenge, but he needs help. Teammates come in, KXY drops a Sonic Wave, but Yuma does still fall, so this could still be doable. Look at Solji, just throwing out the fire left, right, and center. It's enough to take down both Prada and Oscar, and now KXY is stunned, KXY is killed, and Felt... I mean, they could not fail in that fight. If they fail, the game might just be over, but they hold their ground even with Paradise going down. But ET, I mean, how much did they have to throw at that Morphling to find the kill? I'm not sure they're going to be able to do that with any sort of consistency.
Yeah, and
Okay.
LPH is trying to get the gem out of here, but gem will drop. They should be able to get the D word as well. Everybody's pinging it, but yeah, and even if you look over at Yuma, I don't even want to take a peek at his death summary, but a lot of damage. Faceless Way was able to do, and I think a big mistake from Yuma there. He became the Snapfire for a second, only really got one spell off. I think if he just didn't focus on morphing or just pop the Manta and hit with Satanic, he had pretty low attack speed, but also look at Yuma's bar and you see that he's got 7,000 HP, and you're like, yeah, this is a Dota 2 hero for sure. But still, they got the morph kill at the end of the day. They hold. No core buybacks as well. It was only a commitment from the Hoodwink there. So a pretty big win. That's unfortunate, though. With such an early Roche timer, the map is not going to change enough. I don't feel like you're going to have enough time to win, or rather farm off this win. You're not going to get any more items on your face with Spoiled before that third Roche is available either. Oh, that's a brutal timing.
Yeah. Well, if you're Felt, the alternative was losing the game if you don't take that fight. So at least you have that going for you, but as you say, you're just kind of at the mercy of the RNG there because you're not going to have that much time. Although with the way Paradise is farming, I mean, he's getting pretty close to finishing off this Scotty, right? He's got enough for the other ulti orb, so maybe if Roche isn't scouted out for, 30 more seconds. I don't know. That's still a lot of money for him to pick up before then, but you look at SG, now they know. Never mind. I was going to say they weren't scouting it out, but they do throw one of those wards in there, so they'll know what's up. There is a Satanic, though, now on the Lina. So Solji really was kind of the engine that kept Felt going in that last fight after Paradise went down. Now he's going to be a little bit tougher. So there's still some sort of silver lining, but now the Roche attempt comes.
Yeah, and you already see from Felt, no movement. They are just going to give it up. Kind of have to in the first place, but does hurt, and another big opening for Yuma. Is an Aghanim Scepter that is going to get kind of bounced around here. I feel like that's where maybe the Refresher Shard would have felt pretty nice, especially if you could give it over to Oscar, but free Aghanim Scepter to the Queen of Pain, nothing to scoff at. Very obnoxious to deal with. An Aghanim Scepter we usually don't get to see either, because they're just bigger and better items for you to build up, but is a very annoying one to deal with.
Well, there's a little bit of good news as well. The Satanic on the Lina. Paradise finished off his Scotty, so on the one hand, they picked up some items. The sort of maybe counter to that, though, is that buying all these items is going to price them out of any buybacks that they could have had, but I think at this point, maybe the items help them win the fight more than just the extra manpower from the buybacks.
No, for sure here. And they are deciding to root up that bottom lane right now. There is a refresher on Fade, which could matter quite a bit here. Batrider just being able to lock down somebody for an extremely long time, especially you can pop that Lincoln's for free on KXY. Look, that's your another free core kill. Here we go, smoke up. They're looking.
Oh, they see Yuma now. They're going to hit him with the lasso. He did start shifting, but look at the damage. Okay. There's first life down. Paradise, got a decision to make. Do you chrono it? Yes, you do. They're going to go in. Hacking away. Some more hacking. Lots of hacking. Lasso coming in, but the damage isn't there this time. And Yuma's going to start turning things around. Fade falling back. They're trying to actually keep the fight going onto Yuma. The problem is they're too broken up now. They will pay. The Warden dead. Paradise gone as well. The cohesion has been lost. Solji has to get away, but he's not going to make it out. The Adaptive Strike stuns him, and now we come back to that previous discussion, ET. They priced themselves out of buybacks, and I think that might just be the end, because they've only got one lane of racks standing. SG can just kind of barrel their way through it.
Yeah, at the very least, maybe you get a cheeky kill on the Yuma, or maybe just eats the cheese. Okay, never mind. No cheeky kills on the Yuma. Yuma's full HP. Cores don't have buyback. At the very least, it's Megas. At the very worst, probably is just the game here. And yeah, Yuma, at the end of the day, decides, okay, the only way I've been dying is in Chronosphere. If this game would prolong any further, then you would need the BKB or the Aeon Disc that he's got flying out now.
They're not even going for Megas. They're just going to go for the win.
Yeah, they know. The only way Yuma dies is if he gets dragged and perma-stunned into that fountain, but he's also very aware that there are no more lassos, nothing else he has to deal with. Is going to be a little bit annoying, but you're not even 25 on Bat Rider, so it's not like you're getting too many stacks of napalm cast on you. And okay, they're going, but throwing your life away, just trying to buy time.
Yeah, not really doable. The snap is going to die. The tier 4s go down, or one of them does at least. Well, I don't know. Fade could give it one last shot, but at this point it just kind of feels like they're really just delaying the inevitable, as they are going to push their way in. But Paradise has respawned. Chrono not up for 35, however, so I don't know if they can do this, as there's the Aeon disc. Not going to get the lasso play back. Yuma's still kind of dropping a little bit low, though, so he has to at least retreat. Paradise doesn't want to let him go, but now Paradise has outrun any reinforcements. Satanic popped on Yuma. That's really going to be the end of it. Without the Faceless Void, I don't think they can do this. Solji is at least going to find a kill onto LTH, but we got an immediate buyback from that Dark Willow, and well, it's not quite over yet. You look at SG Esports, they're kind of backing it up a little bit, so maybe a little bit too much fountain diving at this point is KXY. That was not the smartest move in the world. Sonic Wave is deployed, but now he's in trouble. He's going to get stunned up by the LSA. Solji brings him down. This is not clean in the slightest, but maybe Yuma can just put it to bed. He's going to go into Solji and find the kill, or maybe he's not. Solji's healing. Solji is still alive. Yuma's the one to go down. This should not be possible, ET, but Solji's gonna clean it up.
Oh, it's so messy.
Oh my god.
And yet again, Yuma makes the mistake of using his morph to make sure he becomes the Snapfire, and sure, at the best, it's just Megas, and at the worst, the game doesn't end. The game continues. A whole bunch of levels just got fed into your opponents as well, and an ultra kill for your Lina, and yeah, Solji was just too strong, along with the break there. I don't know, Yuma just very sloppily wastes his morph yet again here. If he becomes the Faceless Void, there's no shot they lose, and sure, there are mega creeps that Felt have to deal with, but there's going to be 2 lassos that you have to play against. There's going to be another chrono you have to play into. Game's not over yet.
Yeah, the game's not over yet. Felt this would be unbelievable, near miraculous if they pull this off, so if you're SG, you're probably still thinking, hey, we probably have this under control. But if you're Felt, we are talking about a comeback at a time when this game's supposed to be over. They were dead to rights. The Ancient was exposed. They had half their lineup alive. No one had buybacks. SG could have just really focused all in on the Ancient and won the game. Instead, it's still going, and every second the game's not over, Felt have a chance.
The biggest timing really that they have to worry about is getting their glyph back and getting their buybacks, because I mean, maybe you could call it a blessing, but nobody's on buyback CD really. It's just the Snapfire. They farm it up. There could be tens of bodies that Felt could throw into a final base defense if they just get a little bit more time here. It's where I think that easy victory for SG, it still feels like it's right around the corner, but it's where I think Felt could really throw everything at them and really take this game extremely late now. Which, I don't know, that's where things get a little kooky, it's where things get wacky in Dota, and you never know what's going to happen. I still think, though, that KXY is really still underperforming on this Queen of Pain, just not really feeling his impact in a lot of these team fights, and that's also where, unfortunately for Oscar, the Veno, the damage is there, the damage is always getting there, but it's just very slow. You're Venomancer. Even though you ult 3 or 4 people, if they can just walk away from you and get a reset in the fight, you're just not feeling a lot of the impact from these SG cores.
And yeah, I mean, you take a look at KXY stat-wise, he still looks pretty good, 10, 7, and 14. But as you say, we're 44 minutes into the game. You kind of expect that to be more, and when KXY has not had the benefit of half the team fight breaking out and then he gets to blink in and Sonic Wave, it just hasn't really been effective. He is not a fighter unto himself. He is someone who has to wait for the opportunity to be created by his teammates. If they can do that, then fine. KXY comes in, just drops the hammer, and the fight's over. But that doesn't happen, then Felt have an opening to maybe turn it around.
Yeah, and okay,
they got the lasso. He does have Refresher up in about 5 seconds, but Yuma? He managed to waveform himself out of the chrono, or out of where the chrono was being dropped, but if you're Felt, you still have to consider, can you take this fight? Solji's starting to drop pretty damn low. He was hexed up, but he does get the BKB off. They drop another lasso onto Yuma, but it's still not enough damage to kill him off. Even the Laguna deployed, and now they'll finally finish him. The problem is they lost Paradise as well, but he's quick to buy back. They're going to rejoin this engagement. Still not dead yet, ET. And SG Esports, they are starting to sweat a little bit. This is getting crazy. Solji will die, but he'll buy back as well. Can they get out of here? KXY links himself to safety. I think that's going to be the end of it. If you're SG, that's a little bit awkward, but you did force out the two single most important buybacks on the field, right?
Yeah, and now you've got a much easier win condition to play for. I think just blanketly hitting that Ancient has become a little bit too hard. And look mid, they have Hex on the Queen of Pain. Oh no,
that's a problem. Solji, can anyone save him? Is there any play to be made? No, there is not. 2 minutes on the sideline, and Solji,
Yep, here we go.
You can't do that. You don't have BKB. You just bought back. There's no Force Staff, no nothing, and he just hangs out on the steps. Just dangling himself too far out here as Oscar will get picked off. Looks like Prada may end up dying inside the base as well, or maybe not. KXY makes the jump in. They've got the Hex onto Paradise, and if he goes down, it really is just over, and there it is. They will lose Paradise. Fade pops a buyback, but there's no way they get away with this a second time around. This time, it's all in on the Ancient. The glyph is cute, but it's not going to be enough to matter, and the lasso is even reflected here. So Fade can't even get the pullback, and yeah, this one's going to be pretty much over. Ancient goes down, and SG Esports, they still need to have a bit of a talk as a team, ET, because they very nearly blew it on that, but they still get the win at the end of the day.
Yeah, and really, I'm taking a look at the win probability. I think even with what felt like quite a few of those throws, usually, yeah, wasn't even enough, wasn't even able to really move the needle all too much, but still, almost did something there at the end, and I think really you had Solji, I think, carrying you for a large part of that game on the Lina. He was the one that kind of had to be that carry once Yuma decided, yeah, I'm going to become the Void every single time. But then Yuma decides to become a Snapfire, and then everything gets a little bit scary. I don't know. I feel like that's one of those kind of uncharacteristic mistakes where he was playing so perfectly until that point, and then things get really scary really quickly, as well as some really great execution from Felt as well, having the lassos into Chrono, into the next lasso. I mean, it's a tall order. 2 times Yuma dies with 7,000 HP, though. I mean, well, that's why you pick Morpheus' Faceless Void at the end of the day. I think simply, if Felt banded out, they would have been a lot happier with whatever Yuma would have played instead, but it's a hard-fought victory, but I think SG honestly just kind of had this one in the bag, even though, of course, some great plays, but it's where I think the matchup's just a little bit too bad, the lineup's just a little bit too hard to execute, and it just wasn't clean enough up until that point.
And yeah, I think that's the point here. We can say that SG sort of stumbled across the finish line, but they still finish first. So it's not the cleanest game, and if you were playing someone who isn't Felt, maybe you get punished a little bit more, but you needed a win, you get a win. At the end of the day, everything else can just be sort of shoved off to be talked about another day. So they do get that opening win, ET. The question now is, can they turn it into 2? This would be a massive pair of victories for SG to push them not just out of the bottom of the standings, but maybe even get them into competition for that top 4 if they could go for the 2-0 sweep. But if they're going to get the 2-0 sweep, I think they need to clean up the execution just a little bit here.
Yeah, and that's where I hope for Felt, they dig into their hero pool maybe a little bit deeper. I like their opening a lot, but this is where you can't get scared and you can't make any mistakes in the opener. This is where you don't want to lose a 20-minute game versus Primal Beast come game 2, but we'll have to see what the bans are.
We're going to have some interesting stuff to talk about with that game 2 draft, and we are going to be getting into game 2 in just a little bit. Before we do, though, it is everybody's favorite time of the broadcast. We'll swing it on over here, get that fancy graphic up, because it's time for a little bit of a word from our sponsor here. BTS Pro Series 12 is brought to you in part by HyperX and the new HyperX Armada 25 FHD gaming monitor. Got a crazy long name, but this is a pretty snazzy, I can't believe I just said snazzy, I will never do that again, but it's a nice 24.5-inch display, IPS panels for higher color quality, just generally a better picture for you. 240 hertz refresh rate, a 1 millisecond response time on that monitor. So it is pretty damn impressive, and it is coming very, very soon. Not quite out yet, but it is on the horizon. So if you want to secure yourself this monitor, you can do so, and you can do so at a little bit of a discount if you use the code HXBTSArmada. Get yourself up to 20% off MSRP. See the dates there, running between the 20th and October 7th, so basically across the duration of Pro Series. So you can use that code. You can click on the banner below the video player as well, or click on the code that's being periodically posted in chat to take advantage of that deal. So thank you very much to HyperX. Get your hands on that monitor if you're looking for a new one. And with that, we are done with the ad read. It's time to move on. Game number 2 between SG Esports and Felt coming your way in just a few minutes.